when you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
It's the finals weekend of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and it's been a dramatic day so far with an exciting pair of qualifying sessions to begin the day at the Circuit Zolder and a very compelling EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier on. We now shift focus to EuroNASCAR 2, which will take to a circuit that is certainly been graced with pretty much every weather condition available to humanity so far today. Just 12 degrees Celsius. We've had sunshine at various points here around Zolder. We've had plenty of rain as well. Coming in to today's race, it is a very closely fought championship battle with Vladimir Osiortsis, the Super Cypriot himself, on 292 points. His closest competition is Alberto Nasca on 289 points. Paul Giffreau of RDV Competition right up there as well, just 4 points off of the championship lead, as you can see there. Jill Linster, 28 back, also in with a chance, potentially. A good result can really launch you up the points order. We saw that today in EuroNASCAR Pro. Patrick Schauber is in 5th alongside Martin Dubeck. Claudio Remeggio Capelli 50 points behind in 7th. Dombrowski, Davidson and the group round out your overall top 10. Legend Trophy points leader is Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Thomas Dombrowski leads the rookie trophy points, and Ariana Casoli, so far the only full season entrant in the Lady Trophies points, so she leads that championship. But it's been a very compelling season so far in EuroNASCAR 2, a healthy mix of some of the fastest drivers across both EuroNASCAR paddocks, in addition to some of the upcoming stars, the likes of Patrick Schauber and Thomas Dombrowski, knocking on the door of better and better overall results here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It's very exciting to see the development curve of these drivers, those who compete in EuroNASCAR 2, those who perhaps compete in both categories. And Alberto Nasca came into last year's finals at Grobnik in Croatia with a championship lead. This time he has to come from 2nd in the championship. In terms of race victories, if this were the Olympic Games with a medal system, it would be Vladimir Osiortsis comfortably ahead. 5 wins so far this season. However, the odd misfortune has struck as well. Some issues at Brands, some issues at Oschersleben last time out as well. Alberto Nasca has just 2 victories so far, and the same applies to Paul Giffreau. Patrick Schauber, the only other race winner to this point in the season. So we are in finals weekend. Races 11 and 12 of the season. Double points on the line, 80 points for a race win here, which is 10 points more than you get for second place, 70 points for second. That really does add a huge compelling element. And we're talking about experience versus youth, and one of the more experienced drivers out there, Mikael Blekemolen, at the front of the pack. The finals weekend then, as we alluded to, double the points of the regular season. 80 for a race win, 70 for second place. Third gives you 68, so on and so forth. It goes down in 2s, but a race win can really tilt the championship in your favour. Lucas Lasser found that out in EuroNASCAR Pro earlier on today. Especially if your title rivals falter and you take a race win, that could really put you on incredibly firm ground for Sunday. Of course, be the final day of the season. We are knocking on the door of a conclusion in what has been a fascinating 2013 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series season. In terms of the various trophy points, Claudio Remeggio Capelli has a 30-point advantage over Melvin de Groot. That would point to Claudio being able to maybe take it a little bit easy. However, his grid position says otherwise. Claudio Remeggio Capelli will be very keen to capitalise on a second-place start in this race. He starts behind Paul Dufresne, current championship leader. Rather, not the current championship leader, of course, that's Vladimir Osiortis. My apologies. Bit of a brain hiccup there. Paul Dufresne, 4 points back in third in the championship, but he is the pole sitter. And of course, with that 10-point buffer between the point scores for first and second places, when the championship is that close, a race win guarantees you the championship lead. Vladimir Osiortis didn't have the best of qualifying sessions either in EuroNASCAR Pro or EuroNASCAR 2, only starting 6th in this race. Alberto Nasca, the other primary title contender, is 3rd on the grid, so he's in a good spot. And would you be shocked to hear that Gil Linster is in 4th? That is very much his position, but he'd love to break that streak. And frankly, over 20 points back from the lead of the championship, he needs wins to have any hope of a championship victory this weekend. So Mr. 4th place is going to have to go 3 better at least once, probably twice. Very, very competitive grid, EuroNASCAR 2. Certainly at the sharp end of the order, there's really not much at all in the way of disparity between the quality of each grid. Here is the circuit. 2.5 miles. Former Belgian Grand Prix host, of course, the Circuit Zolder. Plenty of deep braking zones. We saw some moves in turn 1 and turn 2 earlier on. Turn 5 and turn 7, the 2 chicanes are always a good opportunity. Turn 9, turn 11, also deep braking zones. There is no shortage of opportunity around this circuit when it comes to overtaking. So then, cars making their way to the grid. There's Paul Dufresne of RDV competition. Driver who came 2nd in the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier on. Heard some discussion that he thought it was actually the end of the, or rather he had 2 laps to go on the final lap of the race. So he thought he was going to have to defend for 2 laps instead of 1. Maybe he would have defended a bit harder had he thought it was the final lap, so he'll be making sure he keeps track of the laps this time. Claudio Remeggio Capelli, though, he, if anything, I think will be hoping for a downpour. Alberto Nasca said it in qualifying this morning, and we've seen it repeatedly. You may remember his brilliant performance at Most, for example. Claudio Remeggio Capelli knows his way around a wet circuit, so if it does rain, that will have a huge benefit for him, I reckon. And you can see there that the driver's left, right of picture is certainly a bit damper than the other side of the circuit. So Claudio Remeggio Capelli's side of the track looks a little bit drier. That was the case last year as well. Paul Dufresne is with Andre Viegold.
Thank you so much, Adam. Paul, another race and now it's on for the championship. What's your plan?
To be first. And yeah, we will see. It's a race, so it can be long, it can be short. If we take a bad start, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, the objective is to exit first at the end of the first lap, and yeah, we will see. It's a hard race with a lot of pressure for everyone. So we will not talk too early, but yeah, we have to go fast. We don't have the choice anymore.
I have to check the tires. It slicks, but still a little bit damp on the track.
There is no wet anymore on the ideal line. There is no wet anymore. So we are maybe expecting some bit of raining, not too much, but on the radar it says that it can come. So we will see.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Back to you, Adam.
Well, there you go, Andre. Our meteorology work doesn't need to be done for this race. We've got Paul Givreau and his trusty radar doing the work for us. Well, that would be compelling if there is rain during this race. Of course, you never put wet tyres on a car on a dry track, even if you do expect rain, because they probably won't last long enough to actually remain as wet tyres. They'll simply shred to pieces if you put wet tyres on a dry track. Claudio Remigio Capelli knows about his wet driving. He'd love some rain, wouldn't he, Andre?
A brand new face on the front row. And Adam, our commentator, said you like the wet race. Do you wish for rain?
No, not today with this tire. Yes, it's a different kind of view, this. I like. I hope to maintain until the end. This is my focus now.
Did you enjoy the racing here so far at Circuit Zolder? It's a nice track, right?
Yes, it's a nice track. You have to know every angle to be perfect. A good qualifying, I think, to find my pace. I hope to maintain.
All right, also fighting for the Legend Trophy, Claudio Capelli, and Lasser already said it, it's a driver's track. Back to you, Adam.
Absolutely right. It is a driver's circuit. It is a circuit that allows for some great overtaking opportunity. We saw that in the race earlier on from Lucas Lasser. He was really having some great scraps and working his way through the order nicely. Lots of deep braking zones here as we have the national anthems playing. I believe the anthems are concluded. In 2 minutes and 45 seconds, the command will be given to start engines and we will be ready to go racing. Exciting to see how this one goes in the early stages. Sounds like everyone will be on slick tyres. Certainly you can see there's no real need for rain. I was watching the previous session as well, and it was a dry track in pretty much all regards. Of course, exciting times in the EuroNASCAR paddock. Not only the conclusion of a season, but also another stellar live spectacle for the fans. The American NASCAR Festival event here at Zolder, the NASCAR GP of Belgium. And beyond the on-track action, the EuroNASCAR machines joined by two of the premier Belgian national series in the form of the Belcar family of championships. We also have the very exciting array of Americana, classic American sports cars and muscle cars as far as the eye can see, and I believe they're doing some on-track parades for them as well. Tens of thousands will be here to watch, especially since there are quite a few local heroes to support, be it the likes of Anthony Kumpen. Sadly, Mark Goossens not being able to take the start today. We believe out for the weekend as well after a crash for Sven Van Leer. Sven Van Leer, who was meant to be racing today, but unfortunately had a big crash in EuroNASCAR 2 qualifying earlier on. Managed to cause heavy damage to both the front and rear of the car. Got out of the car under his own steam, but sadly the machine too wounded to compete. But still, a hugely competitive grid. And also great to see so many teams represented as well. 6 teams in the first 6 spots on the grid, I make it, which is a testament to the competitiveness of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. The countdown to the command is almost over. Moment, the most powerful person within a 100-mile radius. He's getting a lift around in the safety car as well. Very cool. So then, the cars will now head out onto their formation lap. I think it should just be the one formation lap per our understanding. Yes, that has been confirmed by race control. In just a few minutes, Paul Dufresne will lead the field away with his direct championship competition just behind him in the form of Alberto Nasca. Claudio Remeggio Capelli alongside him on the front row, of course. Capelli will be looking to perform something of a masterclass, even though he was racing as a rookie last year as his first season in EuroNASCAR 2. He's anything but when it comes to racing in a broader sense. Plenty of national level Italian experience behind Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Good friends, as Alberto Nasca alluded to, with the driver of the 54. But no love lost when it comes to a championship. So then, we will run you through the grid. Paul Dufresne is our pole sitter for this race in the number 3 RDV competition machine. He starts on pole for the 2nd race in a row today. Claudio Remeggio Capelli starting from 2nd place. Alberto Nasca on row 2 of the grid, looking to make amends from a difficult Oschersleben weekend and take the title. Jill Linster, another title contender, in 4th. Melvin de Groot in 5th place alongside Vladimiros Tsiotsis, the Super Cypriot, starting from 6th place, our current championship leader. Patrick Schauber looking to build upon a first ever win last time out at Oschersleben. Thomas Dombrowski in 8th. Thomas Tuffel, who got his inaugural overall podium in EuroNASCAR 2 last time. He's joined by Fabrizio Armetta on row 5. Jack Davidson, the British driver starting from 11th place. Martin Dubek alongside in 12th. 13th position for Roberto Benedessi. Mikael Blekemolen in 14th. And the 15th, Riccardo Romagnoli. Just quickly run you through the rest of the grid then from there. The 16th place car is driven by Mario Ercoli. It's number 9 Victor Motorsport machine of the young 16-year-old. Sven van Leer is unfortunately not able to take the start. He would have been 17th. Eric de Donker on his return in the Promotion 99 car starting from 18th. Federico Monti in the number 1 Academy Alex Caffey machine in 19th, ahead of Paolo Valeri. Nicholas Strickler in 21st, Matthias Hauer 22nd, Eric Quintal in 23rd, and Ariana Casoli should be there in 24th. Yes, she is. In fact, the one that we're missing from the Speedhouse bunch is the number 40 of Matthias Hauer. So then the V8 engines are burbling away towards the Jackie X-Bock, the final corner of this Circuit Zolder. From there, they will head onto the main straight. It will be a 2x2 rolling start. Still some damp patches on the straight, primarily on Paul Giffro's side of the grid. Will that have any impact on his ability to get the car off the line on this rolling start? Not too much of a damp patch, really, but let's see if it makes a difference. They roll towards the start line now. Alberto Nasca with huge aggressive on the second row. They are racing. Will Giffro get the good start? Can Giffro hold the lead? No, he cannot. It is Claudio Remeggio Capelli that leads the way. It looks like second place. Oh, Dombrovski in a spin. Thomas Dombrovski in a spin. Paul Giffro holds on to second place by the looks of it. Jill Linster was trying to go around the outside for second, but Thomas Dombrovski in a spin on lap 1 of 15. Dombrovski, who started in 7th position at the very back of the order, then that's a huge shame for him. He'll be able to make up a few positions, though. He's getting quicker and quicker. It is Claudio Remeggio Capelli, though, that leads the way for Race Art Technology. We saw Giorgio Maggi lead the race earlier on in the same car, of course, in EuroNASCAR Pro. Alberto Nasca there in 3rd place. He could do with getting some points over Giuffro here. Of course, both of those two drivers with a golden opportunity, since Vladimir Osiotsis is only in 6th position. Claudio Remeggio Capelli getting a bit hairy there out of the Villeneuve chicane. Heading now towards turn 9 of the lap, that is Boulderberg. Power down again through the kink, known as the Jochen Rindt box. The incident at turn 1, the spin for Thomas Dombrovski, is under investigation. So that will be looked into as the number 18 car continues to lead the way. Well, I'm not sure if it was the slight dampness on the left side of the circuit that caused Paul Giffro to lose the lead, but either way, Claudio Remeggio Capelli was fast out of the gates. Is your race leader. Vladimir Osiotsis down in 6th place with Melvin de Groot just ahead of him, and Melvin is a real elbows out racer. He won't have it easy for him, Vladimir Osiotsis. In order to get back into that top 5, he's got quite the gatekeeper to contend with. There is Vladimir Osiotsis with Patrick Schauber just behind him. So, of course, not only is he going to have a lot of work to do to try and get around de Groot, he's also got to worry about the young Austrian in the 27, who has no stake in that championship fight, of course. He is a one-car team, Double V Racing. It's the only car they run. So he has no allies to speak of. Claudio Remeggio Capelli also with no real allegiances towards the front of the order. Of course, Thomas Tuffel in the 34 is his teammate at Race Art Technology. Speaking of Tuffel, Tuffel didn't cross the line at the end of the first lap, I don't think. Thomas Tuffel has gone missing on the first lap of the race, so the 34 car is in a little bit of trouble. Claudio Remigio Capelli, just 4/10 per second between himself and second place Paul Giffreau. We saw there in the back of shot, I think that was Vladimir Osiortzis having a go at Melvin de Groot as well. Indeed, Melvin is being caught by Schauber and Siortzis. The battle for 5th place is alive and well. Siortzis looks like he's got a good run there, down the back straight towards the first chicane, the Klein chicane. A little bit further back from de Groot than he would ideally like to be. He's got to worry about Patrick Schauber. Number 5 car bounces across the curbs as Schauber gets a little bit loose as well. You've got to take a lot of curve to be quick around this Zolder circuit on those chicanes. Claudio Remigio Capelli coming under increasing pressure by the looks of it, not just from Giffreau, but also from Alberto Nasca. Nasca knows all too well how a race win can shift a championship decider. It's that dynamic that went against him last year at the Ulstrom Grobnik in Croatia. This year at Zolder, Nasca wants to get those wins in the books. But to do that, he's got to get past Paul Giffreau. And it looks as though Nasca has dropped a bit off Giffreau there. He may have made a little bit of an error. I didn't quite notice it. I was studying the timing screens. But Nasca has dropped off Giffreau. Giffreau really hustling the back of Claudio Remigio Capelli, though. Gil Linster in 4th is being closed in on, I think, a little bit by Melvin de Groot as well. Mr. 4th place, currently exactly where you'd expect him to be. And here comes Giffreau. He's a bit too far back. Trick of the camera. Looks like he's side by side. Just getting a word that Nasca had a bit of a tank slapper coming out of Jochen Rindt. So thank you to Razor from the EuroNASCAR team for spotting that out of the corner of his eye. Paul Giffreau. Well, certainly Claudio Remigio Capelli has seen Paul in the corner of his eye a few times already in this race. The slight moment for Alberto Nasca hasn't cost him too much, though. Nasca has closed in back to the rear of the number 3 car, and Giffreau not quite brave enough on the brakes, but he's certainly having a look to the inside. Of course, you've got to be careful. If you commit to the inside in a 3-car battle as the driver in 2nd place, you really need to try and make a move, because of course you shallow up your corner exit or your corner entry and ruin your exit. So Paul Giffreau needs to be careful, otherwise Nasca will capitalise. They emerge over the crest. Could end up 3 wide here. I'm not sure Nasca's quite close enough, but he's got a very good run. He's got an exceptional run. Nasca gets through into the lead. I thought for everything he was going to be far too far back to make the move, but he's managed to find a way. Paul Giffreau may follow him through into 2nd place. Fabulous racing between the 3 parties. It was 3 wide into the first corner. I felt sure that Nasca was too far back, but no, he was not. He is your leader. And through into 2nd has gone Paul Giffreau as well. So the championship contenders have now gone to the fore. Claudio Remigio Capelli under significant pressure now from Gil Linster, who's looking to the inside for 3rd place. Can he get it done into the Klein chicane? Yes, he can. Nicely done. Oh, Claudio Remigio Capelli goes from 1st to 6th over the course of 1 lap, make that 1st to 7th. And I think Capelli may have an issue. Looks as though Claudio was slowing, and sure enough, he falls from the highest of heights, unfortunately, with what looks to be some sort of mechanical issue. And Claudio Remigio Capelli getting rotten luck once again. Giorgio Maggi, his EuroNASCAR Pro compatriot, has had almost 0 luck this year at times. Seems this time the curse has switched sides to Claudio Remeggio Capelli, who has fallen out of the top 10. So then it's Alberto Nasca who leads the way. Nasca with just a few tenths of a second between himself and Dufro. Nasca crosses the line in first. He will be the championship leader going into Sunday. It's that simple. And the same applies to Paul Dufro as well. Either of them take the victory, they'll be the new championship leader. Even if Vladimiros Tsiortsis works his way up to second place, that will still be the case. With a 10-point deficit between finishing first and finishing second. It's the ultimate in confidence and momentum building if you can cross the line first, as either of these two drivers. Again, a huge shame for Claudio Remeggio Capelli. His race has ended prematurely. Certainly something of a fan favourite, and been richly deserved to see him have a good result. We've seen that Matthias Hauer is out there on the circuit and circulating, so the number 40 Speedhouse car was out there. I think I saw him in the safety car queue, but he's out there on the circuit, so that's great news for him as well. Gil Linster having moved up to third place. Now has Patrick Schauber filling his mirrors. We saw Schauber making a few brave overtaking opportunities last time out at Oschersleben. Just remember that last time at Oschersleben, Claudio Remeggio Capelli made a move around the outside on the final lap of the race, and unfortunately that ended in contact with Gil Linster. Linster, meanwhile, really wants to try and get this podium under his belt. However, really wouldn't do him that many favours, even if he did finish third place, because he still has NASCAR and Dufro up ahead of him. Someone in Linster's position being some 28 points off the lead. It's really imperative to get those victories and score that big 80-point haul. And right now, he has a bit of work to do to get there. Just on half distance in this race. On lap 7 as we speak. He's still got time, but Patrick Schauber certainly not giving him any time to think. He's been looming large in the mirrors all race long to this point. Melvin de Groot there in 5th place. Tsiortsis dropping back from de Groot in 6th. That is a fair surprise, I would say, with all respect to Melvin de Groot. Based on their records this season, you'd expect Tsiortsis to be step ahead of the Dutchman. Tsiortsis, who has won 5 races so far this season, but has experienced something of a drop-off in the last couple of events. Still the championship leader for now, but as it stands, that will change going into Championship Sunday. Word as well to Roberto Benedetti, who's up there in 7th place. So Benedetti has made some progress in the Cal Racing 88 car. Bouncing across the curbs there is Melvin de Groot. And Tsiortsis has straight lined the chicane there, so that's an opportunity for Benedetti. In the back of shot, keep an eye. Does Roberto Benedetti get through? We're trying to see, but unfortunately the camera not seeing that. Tsiortsis and Benedetti were side by side heading over the crest towards the Villeneuve chicane, and hopefully we can get some visual confirmation of what's happened in the battle for 6th place. looks to me like it's still Siortsis. Yes, it is. Vladimir Siortsis is there in 6th position still. So even though he cut across the chicane, even though there was a good run there for Benedetti, it did not translate to a switch of position. And I think Alberto Nasca may have put a foot wrong. They're side by side. And Paul Giffreau with a much better run into the first corner, tries to go around the outside. Nasca trying to hold on. However, Giffreau will have the inside line for turn 2. Nasca tries to carry the speed all the way around the outside, and was there contact? It looked to me like they might have been going sideways there coming out of the corner. Who emerges in the lead? It's Paul Giffreau. Paul Giffreau is in the lead. Is that Alberto Nasca in second? No, Nasca has not come through. Alberto Nasca has not come through. It did look to me like they were going sideways as they came out of shot at turn 2. It looks like there's been an incident. And there's a caution at turn 2. Alberto Nasca has obviously ended up in a spin there with what seemed to be a little bit of assistance from Paul Giffreau. Alberto Nasca, who had rotten luck at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, unfortunately that luck seems to have continued, and Thomas Dombrowski has had his bonnet come up. I wonder if that's a legacy of the contact at the first corner of the first lap. Full course yellow boards are displayed around the circuit. It is full course yellow conditions, and that unfortunately tells me that maybe there's a stranded car at turn 2. Has Alberto Nasca come through the first sector? Not so sure that he has. We see there, yeah, there's the recovery vehicle. You can see the lights, and I think I see the roof line of a Cal Racing 54 car. Alberto Nasca will be apoplectic. He will be furious. Now, he was on the outside line, and so there does have to be the question, one that we're not going to be able to answer here and now, of whether he cut in on Giffreau, or whether Giffreau carried too much speed and knocked into Nasca. From the angle we saw it at live, it's really not going to be one that we can judge. However, the fact remains that Alberto Nasca has potentially been knocked out of the championship hunt there. Of course, Jill Linster closer now to the back of Paul Giffreau as we go to green flag conditions once again. So Jill Linster would have been right there in the vicinity of Giffreau, of course, just before the full course yellow waved. We saw that he'd closed in as a legacy of the incident between Giffreau and Nasca, but now Linster looks to be dropping off, and if anything, Schauber and de Groot are causing him strife. Incident between cars 3 and 54 under investigation. That will be to the surprise of nobody. Really really unfortunate situation, but Paul Giffreau remains the race leader for now. Linster and De Groot has got up to third place as well, so Melvin De Groot is up into third position. I apologise, I missed that one while checking a note, but De Groot up to third place then. He is on a roll here at Zolder. Seems very keen on this circuit. Of course, yellow procedure is under investigation as well, so we'll see how that unfolds. Patrick Schauber back through into third place. Double V Racing 27 car has managed to get back up into third then. Melvin De Groot momentarily got himself up into third, but that has now abated. Giffreau leads the way. He's just put a lap on Ariana Casoli. And there's Alberto Nasca running again. So Nasca in the 54 car was freed from the gravel and is now running just behind the top four. Meanwhile, Linster gets around Casoli, as does Schauber, as does De Groot, as does Nasca. Nasca will pick up an additional point thanks to that, since that was for 18th position. But that tells you the story really of Alberto Nasca's race. He's a lap down in 18th place. Funny enough, he seems to be on the charge a little bit. He's currently on the back of Melvin De Groot. Because I like our stewards, I hope he doesn't get anywhere near the number 3 car. Melvin De Groot is having to watch to make sure that Alberto Nasca stays behind, but I think Nasca will... Oh, actually slowed quite a bit there, so I hope Nasca hasn't got an issue. Because that would only compound what has been a rough race to this point. Jill Linster, meanwhile, in second position, has firmly fallen off the back of Paul Giffreau. I thought that perhaps Linster would be able to challenge, but he's there in second place, at least for now. Of course, Patrick Schauber, not really a factor in title contention, so he doesn't really have to worry. He's not got a stake in this. He just wants to make positions up, and I don't think he's going to be courteous about letting Jill Linster get to the flag first if an opportunity arises. This is lap 13 of the race that we're on now. And Patrick Schauber is running out of time to try and make a move. Further back in the pack, Watts is still under massive pressure from Benedetti. Jack Davidson has had a good race. He's up in 7th position. Mikael Bleekemolen having one of his better runs of the year, I think, in 8th place. Ricardo Romagnoli and Martin Dubek, your current top 10, and Dubek is having a bit of an off-kilter race. He's not where we'd expect him to be under normal circumstances. Start the penultimate lap of the race this time by. It has been another scintillating drive from Paul Giffreau. It has been investigating, or it has been confirmed that the incident between he and Alberto Nasca is going to be thoroughly investigated post-race. So there is certainly a question mark looming over Paul Giffreau. But as he goes on to lap 14, the penultimate lap of the race, he is our race leader by a comfortable margin. Jill Linster. It's Patrick Schauber for company. Schauber in the number 50 car. I'm sorry, Linster in the number 50 car. Patrick Schauber in the 27 has not been more than 6-7 tenths of a second back from the 50 at any point in this last 5 or 6 laps. Schauber has been applying the pressure to Linster with aplomb. Mr. Fourth place is going to take P2 as it stands, but Schauber, who got to taste that champagne on the top step last time, will be hungry for better and better results. Of course, it's something everyone bears in mind is that the end of a racing season is a really great time to come into form, because you can show your sponsors what you're capable of at the end of the year. You can show potential new sponsors what you're capable of. The old adage is you're only as good as your last race or your last game. Of course, if you can show strong results towards the end of the season, that will only boost your market value for 2023. If there's one driver whose stock has shot through the roof this year, it is our leader, Paul Giffreau. He crosses the line to start the final lap. Provisionally, at least, taking the win here will bump him up to the championship lead, ahead of Giffreau, and then, or rather, sorry, ahead of Siortsis. I think Jill Linster will move up to third in the standings as well, with Alberto Nasca's issues. Certainly, Giffreau would strengthen his title aspirations by taking the championship lead, but of course we know there's an investigation looming. So I think the emphasis will be on provisional until investigation is concluded. When there's a moment like that in the battle for the lead, it will be looked over with a fine-tooth comb. Second place, still under threat. I'm not sure Patrick Schauber is going to get the opportunity that he has been longing for. Paul Giffreau, at one time, it looked as though he was going to have to scrap with Claudio Remeggio Capelli for that win. Capelli faltered, unfortunately. Then NASCAR stepped up to the plate. There was contact between the two of them. What will the investigation yield? We don't know, but we know that Paul Giffreau has crossed the line first to take the win at the Circuit Zolder. Jill Linster takes second place, third place for Patrick Schauber, fourth place for Melvin de Groot. Very good race from him. NASCAR crosses the line, 18th overall and 1 lap down. Fifth place for Vladimiros Siortsis, sixth for Benedetti in the 88 car, seventh for Jack Davidson. Good result for him. Mikael Bleekemolen will just about hold on to 10th place, to 8th place. But there's quite a battle there on the fringes of the top 10. Martin Dubek taking 9th, Romagnoli taking 10th, 11th place going to De Donker on his return to EuroNASCAR. Paul Giffreau is a race winner once again. This will be win number 3 of the season for Paul Giffreau. With his form from Vallelunga onwards, you'd pinch yourself and think it's more wins than that. He has been insulating so far in EuroNASCAR 2. With the question marks over the situation, one has to wonder quite what the championship will look like coming out of this Saturday. On a provisional basis, Paul Giuffreau will be leading the championship, but given everything that we saw in that race, one can't really be sure. There is Paul Giuffreau heading towards victory lane. I'm interested to see what he has to say. I think this could be one of the most compelling podium interviews we've had for some time. Number 3 car will pull up to victory lane, but with a number of question marks over the head. RDV competition personnel talking to Paul Giuffreau. And Andre Viegold waits for him as well. Here comes Paul Giuffreau. He's still not brave enough for the roof. Paul Giuffreau, one of the few drivers that doesn't do the roof. I wouldn't either, to be fair to him. Paul Giuffreau has been really restoring the honour and prestige to RDV competition this season. He has been really impressive. I believe now that he's out of the car, Andre Viegold will swoop in momentarily for a chat with our race winner. Well, I think we know what questions Andre Viegold has to ask here. This is going to be a compelling discussion with the young Frenchman. And we will head down to Andre in just a second for that chat. But for now, he's in victory lane. Paul is talking Andre through it now. Andre, we are with you, so let's hear the story.
All right, thank you so much, Adam. The provisional race winner, we have to say, because there's still an investigation ongoing. But still, it was an amazing race for you, right?
Amazing, no. I didn't want it that type of action with NASCAR. Yeah, I didn't want it that. As my point of view, I don't think it's my fault, but I have to look at the onboard and the POV from the outside. For me, push me wide on the gravel at turn 1, and then turn 2 I'm at the inside, and just it turned into me. I may be fault. I don't want to be 100% sure with what I said, but yes, that's why I don't know. I will wait. I will look maybe with the steward at the race direction, and we will talk. But yeah, it's definitely not what I wanted.
So it's not the right time at the moment to talk about the championship, right?
No, it's not the right time. We could talk tomorrow morning, but yeah, the incident will be looked after the race, so I think that we will be called at the steward race control, so we will see. From my side, it's not my fault, but I didn't want it that at all with Alberto. So.
But still, provisional race winner, you're in victory lane, so it's time for a sticker. Back to you, Adam.
Measured interview that from Paul Giuffreau. He was careful not to attribute blame. He was careful to fight his corner, but he wasn't so ambitious as to completely absolve himself of potential responsibility. From what he said, that sounds very much like a 50-50 kind of accident. It's going to be a tough one for the stewards to judge, and I'm sure it's a judgment that will be investigated thoroughly. I'd expect it to be a little while before we have final results for today's race. So really, talking championship is almost not worth doing. What we do know, though, is that if this result stands, it will be Paul Giffreau who is the championship leader. But he's going to have to wait a little while to find out whether that stands. Well, the victory lane, I think, is a little bit more calm than usual, because there is a big question mark overhead. There's Thomas Teufel's car being towed back. We saw that Teufel didn't make it through the first lap of the race, unfortunately, so the Race Art Technology team as a whole didn't have a great time. Teufel not completing the first lap. Claudio Reggio Capelli, of course, falling out of the lead with what looked to be a mechanical issue. Didn't finish the race. Also not finishing, by the looks of it, Fabrizio Armetta in the 55 car. So Armetta also in a little bit of strife. Of course, Alberto Nasca did finish. He crossed the line 18th and a lap down. But he will be understandably frustrated. And those frustrations carry over from Oschersleben as well, where he had a difficult weekend. And we won't really know what his chances are in the championship until results are handed down. If the results from this race were to be final, it would be a 12-point lead for Paul Giffreau over Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Jill Lindster would still be a little way down in third in the championship. And I believe we will hear, I think that was Jill, wasn't it? Yes, it was. There's Jill Lindster talking to Paul Giffreau at the moment, and I think Andre is going to swoop in and grab him now, although a little bit of discussion going on. Andre, let's see if we can get that, whatever that description was, on the mic.
I have no clue. They were speaking French. I don't understand the word. So, Jill, I don't know what kind of interview this is. It may be a winning interview. That may be an interview about second place, right?
Yeah, hopefully the winning interview. We don't know it yet, but yeah, from the outside was quite a hard move from Giffreau. But yeah, it's not my decision right now. Hopefully I get the win, but yeah, not on me.
But you said you don't have to decide, but you can describe what happened.
Yeah, actually I was behind. I know that, yeah, NASCAR, he did already a quite hard move for turn one, and they were going side by side, so NASCAR tried to close him a little bit on the inside. There is no grip, so I think that was just a very hard battle. Then Giffreau lost the car a little bit. NASCAR tried to put him a little bit too much to the inside. Then he lost the back a little bit, get in touch, tire against tire, and then I just saw the 45 going into the gravel. Yeah.
All right, then let's talk about your race. How was it?
Oh, it was very good. No, it was actually very good. I had still, again, a lot of pressure from 27. Young guy, very good and very fast. But yeah, this time I didn't use the mirror, so I just concentrated on myself. And yeah, just try to catch Giffreau, but rocket.
Definitely not a fourth place for sure.
Oh, yeah. I hope I will never get a fourth place again.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
Well, worst case scenario, he's halved it with a P2 finish, but we'll have to see what results are handed down the pike ultimately. Certainly Jill Lindster, of course, from his point of view, should always state that the driver ahead of him should receive a penalty, because that benefits him immensely. But I know that Jill Lindster isn't of the temperament to play that game. I'm fairly sure that was an honest assessment of what he saw through his windscreen, but opinions vary. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly he sounded a little bit optimistic, didn't he, about what his race may end up looking like, and there's a lot of Luxembourg flags and Jill Linster flags around victory lane. Be a deluxe celebration for the Luxembourg driver if he does end up taking a win, albeit this wouldn't quite be the fashion he'd want, given that the car isn't in victory lane and the trophy won't be handed to him, but we'll have to wait and see. Sounds as though we might be waiting for the decision before a podium is displayed, and that would make sense, of course, because it's always good to have the podium reflect the finalized results, but it should be quite a lengthy process. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure that between Andre and Gianluca, they are herding their Nomex-clad cattle in the direction of an interview. If they aren't, that was a hint. Because we had a very, very long wait for a podium, of course, at Valencia last year as well. Hopefully this decision is more straightforward, but obviously you need to hear all angles. You need to see as many angles as you can as well before you make a decision with such lofty championship implications. A few things that we can confirm, of course. Melvin de Groot with the win in Legend Trophy. Don't think anything has gone wrong for him, or potentially causing any investigations on him. Jack Davidson with the rookie trophy win as well, a good result for the Scottish driver. Paul Giffreau, I must admit my camera has frozen, so I can't see. Ah, this is the podium, okay. So the podium is being put out there now. Does that mean that a decision has been made? Well, the podium ceremony is going on, but we don't think, indeed, a decision has not been made regarding that investigation, but the podium is going ahead. Patrick Schauber on the third step, second step to the number 50. And Paul Giffreau on the top. Presentations ongoing. And I think Paul Giffreau will still be a little bit pensive right now, but for now, he is due to receive that big trophy as well as the Guerin family panel. With the ceremony completed, we go to the national anthems. So then, The drivers to the top step. Paul Giffreau, certainly slightly more compactly built than his adversaries on this occasion. Patrick Schauber, a very tall young gentleman. He does have lofty ambitions for future seasons. I think he and Double V have plans, hopefully together, in years to come, to ascend further. But Paul Giffreau, Gil Linster and Patrick Schauber celebrate Giffreau, our provisional race winner. There's Gianluca, I think, doing some driver herding. There you go, the top three posed for the pictures. I'm sure. Okay, Jean-Luc doing some photography from the top step. That's wonderful stuff, a great shot there. That will be for social media. The top three stood in front of a lovely full victory lane here at Circuit Zolder. Lots of support for Jill Linster, lots of support across the board this weekend. Flags of many nations and many drivers strewn across the Circuit Zolder. Great fan attendance as always. You saw the wall of humanity earlier on today in EuroNASCAR Pro for the big grid walk. Melvin de Groot, or rather I should say Mikael Bleekemolen, my apologies, on the third step of the podium. There is Melvin to the top. So Team Bleekemolen with 2 on the podium. They'll be happy with that. Sebastian had a decent, if unspectacular, race earlier on from quite a way back on the grid. Mikael Bleekemolen, the 73-year-old, doubtless not his first podium here at Zolder. I wouldn't know the statistic off the top of my head. It would cover about 50 years worth of competition. Roberto Benedetti looks like he's had a fun time. He was in some good scrapping, of course. He was trying to get around Vladimir Ostiortsis for a majority of the race. So the top three sharing the top step with themselves and many others. And the accoutrement, I must assume that is Melvin de Groot's son on the top step. He was up there with him. And there is a lot of that in the paddock as well, a lot of family presence as well. Not just in multi-generational teams, for example, Mikael and Sebastian Bleekemolen, but lots of drivers bringing their families, making it a family event. It is very much a family-friendly festival every time EuroNASCAR is in town.
Next for you is Rookie Trophy. EuroNASCAR drivers is their first NASCAR season. In third position, well, congratulations to Leo Ercoli.
The rookie trophy, young Mario Ercoli climbs a EuroNASCAR podium for the first time. At least I hope it's the first time. I don't remember him doing it, obviously, but last month. Second place to Nick Strickler. Nice try, Nick. And Jack Davidson climbs the top step. Great to see Davidson putting in another strong performance as he concludes his first season as a rookie in EuroNASCAR. I'm interested to see what his plans are for the future after several seasons in Mini Challenge. think big, powerful and rear-wheel drive has been quite the revelation for Jack Davidson, and doubtless he'll be investigating opportunities to return to EuroNASCAR in 2024. Mario Urkeli, potentially at the start of a very long EuroNASCAR career, if his brother Gianmarco is anything to go by. Nick Strickler. Claudio Remeggio Capelli has the best beard in the business. I would at least rate Nick Strickler a top 5 mustache. He's a top 3 driver today, second place in the rookie trophy. And Jack Davidson receives a bottle and a trophy. Of course, the Guerin family pano presented to all of our podium finishers. They vacate the podium. Just one more presentation to come, and that is for Arianna Casoli in the Lady Trophy. Jack Davidson, I think he's throwing some hats, is he? Maybe some driver cards. I don't know, but he's got a good arm on in either way. We've learned that about Jack. He's got a good throw. There's Arianna Casoli. Always very jolly is Arianna. She will celebrate another Lady Trophy win. I think she'll be relishing and hoping to welcome some competition in 2024. In the EuroNASCAR 2 category, she did have Elina Leubnegger, who was in EuroNASCAR Pro, stepped down to EuroNASCAR 2 at one point, but by and large she's gone uncontested this year. But I'm sure a racer who has been driving for over 20 years, would be very keen on getting some more competition in the years to come. Nonetheless, she takes that Lady Trophy win, and that will be our final presentation of this victory lane, and that is our final moment of Saturday. Or is it? Because there's an investigation ongoing as we speak. Keep an eye on EuroNASCAR socials for confirmation of the EuroNASCAR 2 result from today. Sunday is the championship decider day at 11 a.m. Central European Summer Time, 10 a.m. UK, 5 a.m. Eastern United States. We will decide the EuroNASCAR 2 title, and then at 1:30 p.m. local time, the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship is decided. In both championships, even the ones with pending results, there have been a lot of seismic shifts today. Make sure you join us on Sunday to find out who will be going to the big end-of-season presentations in the United States as champions in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series.
When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.